Hello and welcome, Dar, to the Quint.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm excited.
Dar, what made you realize that it is high time that an intimacy coach is needed in the Indian film industry, is the need of the hour?
I think Shakun made me realize that. I think once we sat together and we were discussing certain music videos that we did, and we're talking about chemistry, and we were talking about his film, and then he thought to bring intimacy director in his film can create a unique connection between him also and the actors, because I feel when you bring someone, let's call it a third party, sounds fancy, right? And it's like a therapist. That's something that you maybe can't share with your friends or with your I know your husband, but you can share it with the third person, right? With a therapist. So in this case, intimacy director comes as a person who is not attached to the projects from the very beginning. So it's a new person. At the same time, it creates certain trust relationship with you, let's say as an actor, that you can share anything that you feel uncomfortable with or not sure about, or maybe inspiring about, or you have some more ideas that you want to explore during your character will be developed or during the scene will be choreographed. And then together with the director, it just creates kind of like very wholesome picture and experience on the set.
Can you tell me what is the process? What was the process like as an intimacy coach and a filmmaker? What did you make sure was done first, and how did it go about?
I always bring example of intimacy directors as, let's say, conductor or in orchestra, right? So you need to choose the piece that you will be doing together. So in our case, it's a script. So what exactly scenes are we doing together? We have these, and these scenes, right? So everyone is familiar, stage one, what we are doing. Great. Then let's discuss why we are doing it. Let's understand, why do we have close-up of a kissing scene? Do we have, let's say, any scenes in bad? Why do we have scenes in bad? Are you comfortable with it? Does it make any difference to the story or not? So you will go back and forth with the actors. You will go in discussion with intimacy coordinators or intimacy coaches, designing the right workshops to take your actors to. Then your next stage, after everything is discussed, when everyone knows what piece we are playing, what instruments are involved in it, why we are doing that, and everyone is comfortable with it, then we'll go into the workshops. So the workshops would be designed on the basis of the, in a way, replies and discussions that I had with actors, with intimacy coordinator, with intimacy coach, with the director. What director feels we can push for, what the director wants to see more, what kind of energy the director wants to recreate on the screen. And then on the basis of that, I am designing exercises, which will be, let's say, 3, 5, 7 days workshop, depending on the time that we have with the actors, that me and intimacy coach will be conducting with them. And the workshops would go from theater acting exercises to psychological games, to sessions when we'll be discussing our fears or etc. And on the basis of that, then we'll go into our next stage, which coming back to the script and rehearsing the scenes, almost choreographing the scenes of something that we, let's say, we feel slightly uncomfortable with, right? Choreography scenes. So in the way, the same process that we're following with dance choreography or action sequence choreography, we're almost following the same sequence in intimacy direction.
But Dar, tell me one thing, how has intimacy direction changed during the COVID times? Because that is something you have to follow the protocols. At the same time, two people have to come so close to each other. So during COVID times, what was it going on in your head or the actor's head? Were there questions about that?
Yeah, I mean, we had to be very safe. All of us, we had to be, of course, isolated 5 billion times. I think I spend my entire life now in isolation, just waiting, for that negative test to come. See, it's like with acting, right? You can do certain, you can be precautious. You will take care of your crew and actors as much as possible, but there are certain needs that you can't go without. Like if there is a let's say you're holding hands with each other or you are kissing each other. On this set, you can't avoid it. Or you can just be careful before the shoot, and then you have to make your set as minimal as possible. But I would say it's not a COVID demand, it's actually intimacy direction demand. So in a way, intimacy direction is very similar to COVID protocols, have as less people as possible, have distances with each other, isolate unnecessary people, etc., because that makes sense and it just creates a safe zone for actors and for their mind to be able to not just to perform, but to feel happy, to feel secured, and to be able to experiment more.
In Gehraiyaan, while doing workshop, whom do you think, which actor was most difficult to open up?
Oh, I can directly answer this question. The most difficult person to open up was Shakun Batra. He refused to go through certain exercises. After done one day of exercises, he said, "I'm not coming. Now you do everything yourself." But yeah, I mean, on a serious note, I don't want this to sound like cheesy or it was like designed by, I don't know, Dharma team replies. But actually, I was really surprised when I came on my first day of workshops. Everyone was just like so open for experiments. Everyone was so curious about workshops. Not even once I felt hesitation from any of the sides. Everyone knew that we're working with an interesting topic, and everyone knew why we are there on set. Deepika was so collaborative, so curious to try new things that just inspired me a lot. Same thing with Siddhant. He wanted to look inside. He wanted to see how much he can push himself more, how much he can explore himself more, what kind of strings he can, pull here and there just for either performance sequences or for just connection that he had with different actors. Same thing with Ananya. I think it was playful, yet it was very professional, and it was great.
In Gehraiyaan, it's not a typical Bollywood film. It has very real feelings, it has real characters, and the emotions, everything is very real, And when we saw the trailer, the chemistry is fantastic. So, when you have characters like this, what is the biggest challenge? Because when you're rehearsing so many times, it should not look rehearsed. It should look natural. That passion, that madness should come out, So how did you manage that?
No, thank you so much. I think it's an extremely interesting question. I feel a lot of our body responses, mind responses, we as human beings, we evolved to be where we are because of certain experiences that we went through, right? And as actors, as directors, we need to be able to break it down and to look at ourselves not just as a wholesome person, but to understand we are not our body, we are not our mind, we are not our thoughts, we are not our mistakes. We are something more. What? We need to question what we are more, like how to find those buttons that we can try to press and to understand. Let's say when you watch a film and you're welling up, right? I well up all the time when I watch films. So definitely I will well up when I watch this film. And I didn't understand why. What do I see on the screen that connects with my brain and with my response that produces those, water flowing from my eyes? And so we need to look at ourselves as machines, as just like mechanical bodies to feel certain things again and again. Otherwise, as you said, it becomes tricky when you might be able to find that one natural response for the scene, but how will you do it for the second take and third take and fourth take and fifth take? And for that, we do need to understand the buttons, to understand our triggers, to understand what works, what doesn't work, to understand how to take ourselves from the uncomfortable zone, but also how we'll bring ourselves back to the comfortable zone. And exercises and certain rituals always help with that. During the workshops, I will always identify certain exercises which are very close to the actors, which they like or which worked really well with them and for them. There will be certain rituals that we'll be doing every time when we're starting the process of the workshop and we're ending the workshop. And I might bring those exercises or rituals during the scenes or in between the takes if we see that there is something that's not working. Somehow the chemistry, something is not there. My mind is somewhere there. So we'll do those exercises. Let's say we'll look at each other. We'll just imagine that we're exchanging the breaths by just looking at each other, or we're trying to imagine how it is to be that other person. Let's say I'm looking right now at you. You have that plant behind you. You're wearing this beautiful green top. So I'm like, how is it, to feel that green top? How is it to be you? To have your like nose, earring here, right? To have this
So
hair.
mostly
How is it?
empathizing.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would say this is a great word what you said. Empathizing, empathy. Empathy is the key for intimacy direction. I would say empathy is the key for any direction, but in intimacy direction, it plays a very important role.
Okay, so when you are working with actors and actresses, the female and the male actor, what is the most common issue that you have seen in female actors and in male actors?
I guess so many, right? Like so many issues I see, like in myself when I'm coming on the set and I'm uncomfortable doing certain things, and I'm trying to understand why with actors. When it comes down to uncomfortable zone or complicated scenes or intimacy scenes, and as I said, intimacy scenes, it can be not just physical, it can be just emotional scene, right? And when actors are not ready to open up because they think that they can be misused in a way that, fine, I will open up to you, you'll make this great film, which will come out, everyone, people will praise. But what about my emotions that I will have to deal with after the film? Because I have to live with it my entire life. So because of that, I think the hesitation to open up and to trust the director or intimacy director sometimes can be very hard. And I actually understand them, because I heard about really unpleasant experiences of actors who were, let's say, had to kiss someone and the director would be shouting, more, I want more. And you feel very disturbed in that moment, because first of all, you don't know what that more means as an actor. Secondly, you feel that you're being violated, right? Because you're already doing something so intimate, and at the same time that your safe zone is being entered so brutally. So I actually understand actors, and I always think that your health and your being is much more important than anything else. And good projects will always come out if you have honesty between the crew, you have acceptance of your own mistakes or inability or vulnerability among your crew and actors. So I think to create that safe space is very important. It is our responsibility.
Whatever there is in script, like you said, first we go through the script and everything is there, that the actor comes and says, I can't do this because of whatever reason. Okay, so how do you deal with that situation? Do you need to change the script? How do you work around it?
It depends what kind of issue it is. We had, I think, several instances like this, and once we would talk it through, we would understand where the hesitation is coming from, where the problem is coming from, why they don't want to do it, and then we would try to conduct exercises in the way will make them feel comfortable doing that, to try doing that, and then they were comfortable and they were agreeing to do that. Another instance was just the reason was coming from somewhere else, and then we just need to be creative and we need to find the right replacement so that we still can have the same level of narrative engagement, right? But at the same time, your actor will be comfortable doing that. I think you just need to be always open that you're dealing with human beings who are vulnerable, who have their own wishes and fears and dreams, and you need to be able to facilitate all that and to find the solution for everything.
You remember your first time stepping a foot on set, and how did everybody come to you and react to having an intimacy coordinator on set?
Yeah, this is a great question. I remember that I came slightly later because I had to fly down from London and I came late. And one day of workshop, which was conducted by intimacy coach Neha Vyas, which was incredible. So I entered. I supposed to take the workshop. I introduced myself, and I still remember Ananya was doing something. Deepika was, I think, just chatting with her, and Siddhant was lying on the sofa, and they just looked at me. And before coming there, just like being outside, I'm like, how everything will come, and whether they will trust me or not. As soon as I entered, and I just looked at all of them, they looked at me. It was just a moment of exchange that we knew it would be fun, it will be weird, it will be collaborative, and it will be quite challenging. So I think that moment we knew that the connection is there. And then from that moment on, it was, I think, the most remarkable journey for me on this project.
That's amazing. And we just hope we see you more often on sets so that the actors are comfortable, people around are comfortable, and not pushed into things that they don't want to do. So thank you so much for what you're doing, Dar.
Thank you so much.
It's amazing.
Thank you.